Since you're gone today, Mrs. Kobani and I just wanted to give you an idea of what you missed and what observations you might have needed to see. So if you tour the setups with me, I wanted to kind of give you an internal view to remind you what you did. You did two setups like this. One of the setups had an outer ring of salt water and one had a setup of fresh water in the outer ring. You then covered it with saran wrap and stuck a marble on top to allow the saran wrap to droop so that the water dripped in the middle. As I look at them now, I see a lot of them have condensation on the top, and it looks like there might have been a few changes that happened inside. So let's take a look at a couple and see what happened. So I'm going to unwrap this first one. This one says salt water, so I'm going to take off the marble and take off the saran wrap. Take a look inside, and I actually do see a little bit has changed. First of all, I see a little bit of condensation right around the outside of the cup, as well as a little bit of water that has dripped into the middle. So that was not there before. I also have some condensation. It might be hard to see on the camera, but I see some condensation that is on the surface that is, I'm assuming, came from the salt water that was at the bottom. So I'm going to give it a taste, let you know what it tastes like since you don't get a chance to do it. It doesn't taste salty. It tastes fresh, so I'm assuming that that's pure, good water. So that would be an observation that you can write down underneath on page 4 for your experiment conclusion, right at the bottom. So what observations did you see? I just showed you. And then what do you think is happening? So talk about the water cycle and what you think might have happened in that. Let's take a look at the second one, the fresh water. So I'm going to unwrap this one. My prediction is that it would probably be just about the same since this is now fresh water. So I'm assuming I should have pure H2O on the top that is condensed. If I look on the inside, I see this one even has a little bit more moisture on the bottom as well. So let me taste the condensation on top. Also tastes fresh. So I can assume that that has evaporated and condensed on the top of the saran wrap. Mrs. Kobani, are there any other observations that you think we should make as we're back here going over the lab?
I'll point it out in the screencast, but you want to make sure that you use Mr. Moberg's observations to help you complete page 4. You're going to fill in the experiment conclusions for the freshwater solar still and the saltwater solar still. Talk about things like where the condensation is and the precipitation that went inside the cup. And then fill in your observations, or Mr. Moberg's observations rather, about the taste of the precipitation in the cup. Mr. Moberg actually didn't drink from the tiny cups that were in there because we've secured them down with some glue, but he tasted the condensation that was on top of these wraps here. And for both solar stills, for both the fresh water and the salt water, the condensation tasted fresh. It tasted pure. So even though we started off with salt water, we ended up with fresh water that had condensed on top of the wrap.
So we proved it. We proved that the water cycle can purify and clean water. Success.
That's great. I hope that you guys have a great spring break.
See you later.